It's something that starts with this, the makeup kit. For most actors, this is a box of magic. This section has makeup foundations or bases for every color skin. Here are about 10 different rouges. There are lipsticks and glosses in a wide variety of colors. Also eyeshadows and eyeliner pencils. There's mascara, powder puffs, a few kinds of glue, skin wax, and a scissors. The makeup box itself costs about $150. It was designed by a famous Hollywood makeup artist. The whole kit is worth about $2,000. We're going to see how an animator can create a character. The animator behind The Secret of NIMH is Don Bluth. Don worked for the Walt Disney Studio for almost 10 years. Then he and 2 partners set up shop in Don's garage. They were joined by 14 other Disney artists, all wanting to bring back classical animation techniques. Let's hear all about The Secret of NIMH.
In costuming Mrs. Brisby, we tried several ideas. When we first got the idea of using this mouse, we needed a nice country bumpkin look. And so we tried different things. And one of the artists came up with something that looked like this, and we thought that looks just a little too happy, you know, too affluent. So we tried something a little different, more country. And this looks a little too overdone. I mean, she couldn't move around in this kind of costume, and Brisby herself objected to this. So we said, why couldn't we get something that looks a little freer? So we tried letting her ears down to the side of her head and putting the hair down like this, and we put a little red cape on her. She didn't like that at all. And it doesn't look very feminine. So somebody suggested that if we took the ears and pushed them up on top of her head, like all her hair had been piled on top of her head, and pushed this hair up, we would probably get a very cute-looking little mouse. So we did that. But something was still not quite right, and I think it had to do with this cape, because the cape feels a little too well-to-do. And since Mrs. Brisby isn't a rich mouse, we thought if we would just fringe the edges and maybe put a little patch on her, she would look like she's a humble little mouse that doesn't have much to live on.
And this stealing will stop. Now, oh yes, well, why did you send for me?
It's Jenner. He's at it again.
There blows an ill wind.
He's before the council now. This time he's attacking Nicodemus openly.
And the plan, no doubt.
Nothing will come of it. It'll pass.
Beware, boy. He's dangerous. Jenner could be the undoing of the rats of NIMH.
I'm sorry to come here at such a bad time. I suppose...
No, sweet lady. You are welcome here. We tend to take ourselves a little too seriously.
One of the first characters I worked on in this picture was the great owl.
Why have you come?
Please, forgive me for disturbing you, but my son's life is in great danger. The plow has come early this year.
Move your family.
Yes, I would move, but Timothy has pneumonia. He can't even get out of bed.
You must move to a place where it'll be safe from the plow.
Please, there must be another way.
There is no other way. I must bid you good evening,
Mrs. Brisby.
When we recorded the voice of the owl, it was John Carradine. He was very inspirational to, you know, for the development of the character. His voice had suggested how the character should look and how it should act, so we took our cue from that. Nicodemus, he's an interesting character because he is a very mystical figure in the rat colony, the meeting point between science and the paranormal, the psychical, the occult.
And he dabbles in metaphysics, and you get the impression that he has probably advanced further than any of the rats that escaped from the National Institute of Mental Health. Another character who's probably one of the basic comedy reliefs of the picture, quite a funny guy named Jeremy. And over the course of the production, it's hard for me to separate him from the voice, because the voice of the character is Dom Deluise, who did a fabulous job in making this character come to life as far as the voice. And of course, the voice inspired the way the character is drawn.
This is the scene where Jeremy, the crow, is all tied up with rope. Isn't that it?
Yeah,
he's all tied up with rope, and he's on a log, and the little Mrs. Brisby comes along and tries to untie him. While she's doing it, the farmer's cat sneaks up on him, and he's allergic to cats. So he starts going, ay. Do you want some lines on this? Why don't we get some lines? So that we can get into this.
Let me, but does the sneeze does he get adenoidal when the sneeze comes?
Yeah.
So that I mean he can be talking in his own voice, and then all of a sudden it get the maybe.
All right here.
Right.
Now, if that had been an actual cat,
if that had been an actual
he
cat,
doesn't know.
I'd be sneezing my brains out. Right. So he says that could no, that wasn't a cat. That was a rabbit. You see, now if that had been an actual cat, I'd be sneezing my brain. I'm a little bit confused.
So
I'm allergic to cat. The thing is that if I start sneezing before I say the word allergic, will they know?
No, they won't, but you'll finally say it. You'll say, I try to sneezing my breath. You see, I'm alert. Then you start explaining what it is.
You don't, in other words, let me just try it once.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm not going to sneeze here, but I will start to sneeze right after that. See if that works for you.
All right.
Now, if that had been an actual cat, I'd be sneezing my brains out. See, I'm allergic to cat. I'm allergic. Now, I'll do it your way now. I mean, if you don't mind. Now, if that had been an actual cat, I'd be sneezing my brains out. See, I'm allergic.
I like it better his way.
You don't you want to hear allergic?
I like it better your way.
So, all right.
Yeah, okay.
Nah. If that had been an actual cat, I'd be sneezing my brains out. See, I'm allergic to cat. I'm allergic to cat.
Oh, fiddlesticks. Hold still.
If I had actually been near a cat, I'd be sneezing my brains out. See, I'm allergic to cat. I'm allergic to cat. I'm allergic to
Excuse me, pardon me.
Oh.
I want to do a picture of her crawling up to be able to read the words in the book. So I just start thinking of ideas. I know I want a book on this table. I think I'll have the table lay something like this. And then, let me get the book drawn for you. So a book will look something like that. And the table will be somewhere in here. The stool that she crawls up on, or the little bitty chair, should be in this area. And it's probably carved out of wood, so I don't want anything too fancy. Now I'm going to put Mrs. Brisby, I think, right down here, looking up right there at the book as she crawls up there. And she's pretty easy to draw. You know, I know I want to draw a 3/4 rear shot of her. Maybe her hands are just being placed on this little stool as she's going to, the little chair, as she crawls up onto it. There's her cape. And she doesn't have a smile. I think what I'm going to do is make her just a little bit apprehensive, so I keep the corners of the mouth down, put her eyes looking right up here at the book, and then put her hairdo, of course, on. Now, I think what I'd like to happen here is I'd like the camera to start down here, like this. So we're in an area about this big, and as she moves up towards the book, I'd like the camera to follow her up there. So there's one more drawing that I would draw of Mrs. Brisby up in here. and I need to get a clean piece of paper, so pardon me just a moment. All right, this is the fun part. I know now where my parameters of the screen are. It's up there and down here, and I want to stand her up on this little chair. So, and she's going to put her hands on the base of the table. Maybe her fingers. I think what if I were doing this, I'd probably just lightly put my fingers up there instead of a very an awkward palm of the hand. So I would put her thumb there and just little fingers, so it looks very, very feminine. And then she's still looking in the same position. Right there, looking down at the book now. And I know now that she's going to move from this position to this position. You can almost see them move. What I will do is I lay this out. I'll call this position A, and I'll label it on the drawing, and I'll call this one position B and label it on the drawing. Then I will also indicate the length of this scene. The scene is going to be 22 feet long, which lasts maybe for about 5-6 seconds on the screen. So I'll right up here in the right-hand corner, I'll put 22 feet in length, so that when I hand this scene to an animator, he'll know how long the scene's to be. And I'll tell him, at that time, we'll discuss the acting of the scene when I hand it to the animator. And I think I know just the person that can do this scene and do it well.
Read. Jonathan Frisbee made possible.
Okay, now she's trying to read the book, but she doesn't read very well. Okay, so I've done you a layout here, which I think may help. And what it is Mrs. Brisby crawls up by this book that's on a table, and she's almost as big as the book itself, and she tries to read these great big letters.
Does it have to be on 16-field paper? It's really hard.
Yeah, it does. The reason I tried to put it on the small size paper, but we couldn't, because we want the camera to follow her as she goes up.
Get a nice camera move if you just confine it.
You'll be glad, and I know you can do it. So anyway, just suffer it. Yeah, okay. And as she reads the words, make sure that her head is actually turning and looking at the words.
Okay.
Now her thoughts.
She actually sounds like she's just happy in the fact that she can read, and then it starts to sink into her.
And what's she learning about?
Her husband.
That's what
right.
she wants to know.
Okay.
So, put those thoughts in her brain. Okay. I don't want to see her just move up there and then just start to read. That's just movement.
It seems like I should keep her kind of quiet. I'm thinking that way. I don't know if that's right, but if I get her too active, then
You're
I'm
right.
not.
You're
okay.
right.
Okay.
Right. So move the brain, not the body.
The hardest part.
The hardest
All right.
part. Here you go.
God. I'll see you next year.
Good luck. You can do that very well.
Thank you.
Read.
Jonathan Frisbee made possible the rat's escape from the terrible cruelty of NIMH. Jonathan? He was killed today while drugging the farmer's cat, Dragon. Oh, I never knew just what happened.
I think that the art of animation is a very valuable heritage that's been given to the whole world, and that it actually enriches the lives of all the people all over the world, as it did mine when I was a child. And to see that lost, to see that even diminished, is a great loss. And I think it's worth defending, it's worth fighting for, it's worth keeping alive until there's someone else besides myself, or all the other people that love animation so dearly, can take a hold of it and make it grow more. And I, for one, am very, very thankful that there was a guy named Walt Disney, and that he did want it to work like this. It helped my life. And what I'm hoping is that the films that we can make here will help some other people too.